Megan, I'm with Flower Bar, and if you're watching this, odds are you received the greenhouse or you sent the greenhouse, so you want to see what you sent to someone in our plant project, which is part of our quarantine collection. If you received it, this is what you got. So you should have a pair of gloves. These are handy right now, multi-purpose, not just gardening. You will have a terrarium loving plant. Not all plants are good for this type of terrarium, so definitely don't throw just any plant in a terrarium, and I'll go over that in a minute. You will have a bag of rocks. Yep, you just paid to get a bag of rocks or send a bag of rocks. And you will have a garden soil. Not all soil is the same, so I will talk about that as well. And you will have this super cool closed terrarium vessel. So there are two types of terrariums. There's a closed terrarium and an open terrarium. This is a closed terrarium. It's not entirely closed. There's a little opening at the top, but closed terrariums are for like humidity loving, moisture loving plants. Don't throw a cactus or a succulent in this. We're here in Arizona, and a lot of times people come into the studio and they're like, I want to put a cactus in here. We're like, that is a very bad idea. Don't do that. It won't go well. It'll be very sad for you and the plant. So make sure you find like a moisture loving fern. We have a peperomia. Just don't put a cactus or a succulent in the terrarium. If you want to have those types of plants, you should have an open air terrarium, and that way they have air circulating and they can dry out. Terrariums keep the moisture in. So this little guy just comes off. It is glass. Be careful, be delicate with it. Don't set it somewhere where you're gonna knock it over. So I'm gonna set that out of the way. The base of the terrarium is a little bit porous. It's like a concrete. They evaporate moisture, so they're not entirely like watertight. You're gonna take your rocks that you had and you're just gonna put a tiny little layer. You really don't, there's not a ton of room in these guys, so don't fill the bottom with an inch of rocks. Just literally put a really small amount for drainage. That's all you're doing. And because these are so shallow, you really don't need that much soil. If you wanna sprinkle a little bit of the soil that we sent in over the rocks, you can do that. Odds are the plant that we sent home with you or home to you will have enough soil. So you're gonna take your plant, whichever it is, it's a peperomia in this case, and you're just gonna kind of squeeze the container and you should just kind of pop right out. See, you have your little plant. So obviously if you stick this guy in here, that looks really bad. Don't do that. You wanna shake some of this excess soil off. And you can tell, you'll get down to kind of where the roots are, and you can just kind of gently get all this extra soil off your plant to the point where it's not going to be sitting in 2 inches of soil off your terrarium. So once you do that, you can kind of wiggle it into your terrarium, and you can take all the soil and put it back around the plant. So there's not a ton of soil that comes with these guys because these dishes are so shallow. The tricky part about closed terrariums like this, there isn't any drainage. So if you overwater this, it's going to become like a marshland pond, really gross, disgusting thing. And the plant's not going to be happy. It will turn into a gooey, gross thing. So don't do that. Don't overwater it. You definitely have to exercise a lot of restraint when it comes to watering closed terrariums. So if you're like a helicopter plant parent where you like to water something every day, this is not for you. Like do not do that, or do not send this to a friend who you know likes to definitely micromanage their plants' lives. So if you forget about things, this is good for you. It's really nice. So you just want to make sure you have the soil really kind of packed in and tight, and your plant's standing upright. Obviously, you want it to be vertical, not sideways. And just tuck soil in around. So we have this cool little, at the studio, we have terrarium tools. They're a fun little set. I really like them for terrariums, and they're just like cute, super cute. They make you feel like this is really fun and fancy. So you can take the little terrarium brush and you can brush the dirt off the edge. If you get any on the leaves, you can kind of brush them. It's very like OCD and satisfying to like do this. And then there's a little rake too. And so you can use the back end of the rake to push the soil down around your plant. So you just want to make sure everything is really solid and packed in and the soil is really tight around your plant. Then you'll take the duster, or you can even take a paper towel and just wipe the edge of your terrarium base. Then you take the top. You just want to make sure everyone goes in their little home. You can kind of just push the leaves up and guide them in. And then you're just going to kind of, ooh, hi. Nope, you go in your home, buddy. And you just kind of twist and wiggle him down, right? So now you have a closed terrarium that is planted. And it looks like this. So how do you take care of this little guy? Well, the glass is going to magnify the light. So don't put this in a window. Like you're just gonna, it's like ants under a magnifying glass for your plant. Like that's the comparison here. So you definitely don't want to put these in a window. Set them away from a window where they get some indirect light. And you only want to water these like once every 10 days to 2 weeks. And definitely err on the side of caution. Like start with a little bit of water. And after you water them, you'll see humidity and the glass will fog up. That's great. They love this. They'll be super, super happy. If it gets kind of funky and there's too much humidity, you can always take the top off and let the plant breathe. But most of the plants, or all of the plants that we're going to send, will love like that really high humidity environment. And then we have these really fun watering cans. We have a couple different options. You don't need a watering can, but you can water at the base. You can literally kind of just tip up the side and put a tiny bit of water in, and it goes to the base. If you pour it through the top, it's going to hit the leaves and it's going to splash everywhere, and then you're going to have water spots all over the inside of the glass, and then you're going to have to take it apart and clean it, and it's not fun. So just really gently lift up and tilt the top and then slide water in there and a little tiny bit, and then you can just twist the terrarium top back on. So there's an option for a watering can if you want to add that on, or the cool terrarium tools, but otherwise definitely don't overwater these guys. Less is more, and enjoy. Happy growing, friends.